A survey was conducted among a randomly chosen sample of U.S. citizens about U.S. voter participation in the November 2012 presidential election. The table below displays a summary of the survey results. Of the 18 to 34-year-olds who reported voting, 500 people were selected at random to do a follow-up survey where they asked which candidate they voted for. There were 287 people in this follow-up survey who said they voted for candidate A, and the other 213 people voted for someone else. Using data from both the follow-up survey and the initial survey, which of the following is most likely to be an accurate statement? We look at the choices, and the gist of the choices is how many of the 18 to 34-year-old voters, in millions, probably voted for candidate A. The first thing we need to see is this table is in thousands. So when we say the total voted in this age group was 30,329, it's actually 30,329 thousands people. So in other words, 3429,000, which is actually 30 million. So 30 million of these 18 to 34 age group voted in this election. We look at this survey, more people voted for A than for B or for somebody else. So more than half of this 30 million should have voted for A. So 17, 18, 19 million, something like that. We could find it exactly, but we don't have to, because notice the choices. 123 million people voting from 18 to 34 is impossible, because there's only 30 million people who voted in that age group, so that can't work. Same thing with B. With C, it's, 36 million, still higher than the 30 million, but even still, it's got to be way smaller than the 30 million. It's got to be about half of the 30 million who voted for A. So the only one that works here is D, right? 17 million in this age group voted for candidate A. That makes sense based on the fact that this survey showed more than half of the voters in this group voted for A. So more than half, in other words, 17 million or so, voted for A in the overall sample, overall population. So that's the answer to the question, choice D. As I mentioned in an earlier video, surveys and sample sizes and that kind of stuff seems to be a direction that they're moving in on this test. So if you know how these two surveys relate to one another, that small population gives you the proportion that you can then extrapolate to the bigger population, you'll be good to go. The other issue is knowing that this represents, in some sense, millions, not just tens of thousands. A little bit tricky. You could find the answer exactly, right? You could do 287 divided by 500. That's the fraction. And then multiply that fraction by 30,329, and you'll see you get 17 something. You could do that, but you don't have to. You can just see that A, B, and C make no sense given the populations and the samples that are discussed. So the only one here that works is D. Again, tough question. There's a lot of reading here. Not only in the question, but also in the choices. So there's just a lot going on. But conceptually, it's not really a difficult question. It's just getting through all the stuff and figuring out what you have to do. That's the challenge of it.